Hello everyone, this is Greg again with EntityFramwork Testing Part 3. So in the other tutorials we kind of went over the database and tables that we'll be using in this tutorial series. We also went over creating the actual entity model and consuming it inside of um, a class library and consuming that in our MVC project to separate our concerns and use DTO objects, which we have not created yet. And we went through the edmux file and what gets created and the app config and how to integrate that into the web config and why we do that. So in this tutorial, we're going to start actually writing some code. I know it's amazing. We haven't written any code yet, but yet I've had two 13, 14-minute videos, but trust me, they're packed with stuff that are good to know. I wouldn't just go past them. You know, it's really good to know every little piece of these things, because then what I've found is, sometimes, just like everything else that works from a design view, you end up with little quirks. If you understand these little pieces that are in here, you'll more thoroughly and quickly be able to get your solution and figure out what's wrong, because I haven't found one error that I couldn't deal with some way, somehow. So now, without any further ado, we're going to add a new class. So let's do add class, and we'll call this person DTO. Okay, so this is going to be our first DTO. Alright, very exciting stuff. I'm sure everybody is ecstatic. Alright, so I'll make a public class here. Let's make a property. Oops, not a poop. A property. And actually, we're going to go GUID question mark. Now, what question mark means in C# is that this property or this value can be null. And as you've worked with C# enough, you know that GUIDs and ints and stuff like that can't be null. But because in SQL you can make an int nullable, or a unique identifier nullable, there is a possibility for something to be null. So that's why this is built in here. I don't think a lot of people tend to use this throughout their regular everyday language, but as far as hooking into entity, you have to, and it's for good reason. As I stated, if you can take an int that's a particular column and you can make that nullable. So entity needed a way to handle such things as they came, around. So that's why we do that. So we're going to make this ID, and then we're going to do property. Let's see, string first name. Let's see, property string last name. Oops. And let's see. I think we're gonna leave age out for now. Not that that's something that you'd want to hide, but I just want to show the usability of DTO, and I know that I didn't make created user and created DTS previously, so I just want to show. Although it's not the ideal example, it will show you kind of the ropes of why you would do a DTO. And now we're just going to do a teen DTO. And you might be wondering, okay, you're making these DTOs, but where's your actual entity objects? Well, we haven't gotten there, but we will, don't worry. So property, oops, and that's GUID with the possible null. We'll do ID, and then property string, come on, string, and team name. Okay. Alright, so we got that. Team, person, DTO. Very basic model object. Nothing big going on there. We will add a little bit to this later. Actually, we may not. I think we may make a conversion tool inside of here instead of adding it to the DTO, which I sometimes do. So now what I like to do is break things up very similar to the MVC model itself. So I'll make well, I was typing model because I said model. I make a DTO folder, and then also a repositories folder just to keep things. This is more visually than anything else. This doesn't really affect your code specifically. It purely just separates everything so that it's nice and neat. And let me just do .dto. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I put that in the wrong place, but that's okay. We'll just change it. DTO and .dto. So I'm just updating the namespace because I'm dragging these into another folder, which makes it a whole nother section of the namespace. Okay, so we've got that them added there, and what I like about this is you can zip it up now, and you don't have to view it if you don't want to. So now we'll add a new class for repositories. This will be a person repository. Okay. So we'll make this a public class as well. Oops, come on, really? Public class. Okay. So now we're going to make our first method here. Public void, because it doesn't. This one's not going to return anything. Add person. Okay. And then what we're going to put in here is person DTO. And I bet you probably saw one thing that you're going to be very happy about that IntelliSense just did. And if you didn't see it, you'll see it in a second. By the way, if anybody doesn't know this shortcut, when you know that something is in a library, you want it to just add the using for you. If you do Control dot, which is the right under the greater than sign next to the shift, or 2 to the left of the shift, this will allow you to choose either to add it to that line so that it goes all, so that it will add the whole thing or the whole namespace there for you, or the whole path to the object, or you can also add the using to the top, which is usually how I do it. Okay, and then you'll notice that it's now green. Alright, so now we have our little method here. It's not going to return anything, so now we're going to use our using. And if you remember correctly, I asked you to remember that sandbox entities. I like to call this a context because that's what it used to be called. It just is easier for me to remember. Equals new sandbox entities. Now you can do this in different ways. I use the using. I also use the using when I'm doing regular SQL. The reason being is because as soon as you leave the outside of the using, it immediately calls iDispose and disposes of your object. Whereas if you keep it and you use a finally and do a .close, it puts in garbage collection, and then garbage collection decides when to get rid of it. So it could be around for a while and you don't even know about it, taking up space. Maybe not doing anything, but taking up memory and taking up some sort of processing time. So just something I like to do. So now we've got the using, so we're inside here. So now, oops, lost something there. So now we'll do context dot, and now you'll notice that we have all our entities here. We have get person, get team. We've got persons, which is the plural of. It's actually the table basically, and same thing with the teams. So what we're going to do is add person because that's the method we're making here. And you'll notice that, hey, look at that. It's got the values that are identical to the parameters that are in your store procedure. So now we're going to do person DTO dot first name, comma, person DTO dot last name, comma, person DTO dot team. Whoops. Oh, we missed one. I'm sorry. We're going to have to go back there, so let's just do .age, and we'll fit it in a second. Oh, that's right, we didn't do age, so this is actually not going to work very well, is it? Alright, we're going to do a few things here. Okay. So what we need to do is we will go back to person. See, this is why doing stuff in production, or not in production, but in the tutorial is good because you get to see things that happen. Let's just check time here real quick. Okay, we're at 10 minutes. We're good for a little bit longer here. So we are going to add property GUID question mark team ID, so that's there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to jump into this store procedure here. Get rid of that, and we're going to go to add person, and we're going to modify that, and we're going to get rid of this age right here, and we'll have to get rid of that, and we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to get rid of that. Oops, I didn't want to save. I'm going to execute. And then the other thing that I forgot to do here is I'm going to have to make age allow nulls. Yes, I want to do that. Yes, I really want to do that. Okay, so now we get to see in action what we can do when we update things, which is pretty cool. So now we're going to go to Model Browser and update model from database. And let's see here. Okay, those are all those things. Tables, I don't think we have to worry about. Nope. Okay, so we're just going to do a refresh. Finish. And now all this stuff should pretty much stay the same. No issues there. Okay. Now I'm not even going to compile because I know it's not going to work. So we're going to go back here, and now if we go here, we'll notice, hey, look at that, age is gone. Okay, so it's that quick that it knows exactly what it needs to do, where it needs to update. Boom, you're done. And that goes with all the different features. So, without further ado, person.dto.teamID, and boom, that's it. That is all there is to that code. Isn't that beautiful? It's like no code at all. It is good stuff. Alright, so now let's copy this down here. Actually, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. No, yeah, actually just one more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the other repositories so that you're not sitting there watching me. And then I'll come back, I'll review it, and we'll take it from there. And we'll start actually seeing this go into motion a little bit and keep going forward. Alright, thank you very much. If you like my tutorials, please visit my weblog at objectreferencehell.com. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.